Hello, class. Today we are joined by an undergrad who will talk about their experiences. Can you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Sure. So my name is Julissa Sandoval. I'm a fourth year communicative disorders student.
Thank you. And so this week we are trying to expose students to different ways that they can get involved on campus. By now they've explored different careers. They know how to prepare for graduate school. So I was thinking it would be helpful for them to hear from a student who has actually taken this class before and how they have gotten involved in different things. So Julissa, what is one of the experiences outside of the classroom that you feel has prepared you to apply for grad school?
I think my very first volunteering experiences was what really opened the door to prepare myself for grad school. I started volunteering at a private clinic called Providence Speech and Hearing Center. That's where I got my very first hands-on experience with preschool age kids. I had learned a lot about it in class, but seeing it firsthand was different. And I think that I volunteered there for a year and a half, and I think that gave me a lot of good experience that could be useful for graduate school. Mm-hmm. Right after that, because I'm interested in speech therapy, there are different fields that you can explore, and it's very flexible. So I started off volunteering with kids for a year and a half, and then after that I wanted to volunteer with the geriatric population. So I started volunteering at St. Jude's Communication Recovery Group. It's an off-site program for individuals with aphasia and traumatic brain injury. A lot of these individuals have had brain injuries or strokes and they're recovering. They've already completed their speech therapy, so this is like an optional program that they're allowed to attend. That was another experience that gave me the freedom and independence to kind of run my own group sessions. So I was in charge of running for 2 hours, 2 groups of 4 to 6 individuals. So I would do communication activities with them, memory games, and other conversation topics. So that also gave me the independence to get that hands-on experience for grad school.
That's awesome. When did you take advantage of these opportunities?
So when I joined the Allied Health Academy, I took this class in my sophomore year, and when they told me that I needed to write a resume and go to the Career Center to get it reviewed, I realized that I didn't have anything on my resume. And that felt weird to me, kind of showing up there and not having anything on my resume. So I think that was a moment where I was like, okay, I need to start doing things. I need to start filling up these pages. And then right after that, I started looking for volunteering opportunities right away.
Awesome. And was it easy or difficult to find these opportunities?
It wasn't difficult at all. I was part of an organization on campus called HESC, which is our main organization for students in the major. They actually had a page online that had multiple volunteering sites. Mm-hmm. So I basically contacted each one. Some had application cycles, some you needed, it was a longer process. So I just found the site as fast as I could, the fastest one.
Awesome. So you mentioned HESC. Can you share more about getting involved with organizations on campus? Like which ones are you involved in and what has your role been with them?
Okay, so when I went into my junior year, I joined NISLA, which stands for National Student Speech Language Hearing Association, which is the pre-professional organization for students in the major. Professors recommended that we join that organization. I went to all the events. They had guest speaker events, volunteering opportunities, networking opportunities. And through them, I discovered STANCE, which stands for Student Speech Therapist and Audiologist Nurturing Cultural Enrichment. And I was very attracted to it right away. It was a very welcoming and homey environment. And what I loved about them is that they emphasized on something that was very important to me, which was multiculturalism and cultural diversity. I liked how they focused on both speech therapy and audiology, but they brought guest speakers in to talk about different diversity issues related to the field. That was something I was very passionate about and interested in. So after being involved with them for a year, involved in the club for a year, I decided to apply for a leadership position with them. And I'm currently the finance chair for the club.
Awesome. So I think you make a good point that a lot of times you have to kind of expose yourself to the organization before you run, typically. That's how it goes. And so you mentioned that you're a fourth year now, and so you first started attending meetings as a junior before actually running and I guess folks trusting you. So for those of you who are not yet graduating, you do have time, start getting involved in organizations, and hopefully by the time you're a senior, you can also hold some kind of leadership opportunity. I did also want to ask you, can you share a little bit about your research experience? I think research sometimes students don't really know what that is, or they're only exposed to it in class settings. So can you say a little bit about what you've been doing with research, and also share some of your exciting news?
Okay, so when I started the fall semester of my junior year, I had to take a mandatory research methods class. I was very intrigued by it, and I had heard a lot about how the field in speech therapy specifically is continuously growing. It's evidence-based. There are new discoveries being made. There are still things that aren't discovered yet. And I really wanted to get involved with it before I graduated. That was one of my goals. So in the spring semester, I started an internship, a research assistant internship with one of the professors in the program. And I told her that I was interested in motor speech disorders, I was interested in autism, didn't know which one to do. And so she said, okay, let's combine it together. So I started researching about childhood apraxia of speech, which is a motor speech disorder, and I started with autism. I started with a very broad view, and I kind of narrowed it down to a smaller question. And after that, in the internship, I read over 40 scholarly articles.
On top of what you were doing for your regular classes?
Yes, I was taking 5 classes. I was involved in multiple organizations. I was volunteering, and I did the research assistant internship. And then what else did I do? I basically did a literature review. And I found tons of gaps in the research. There were so many things that weren't unanswered. A lot of professionals out in the field, there were things that they didn't know yet. And so that was something I really wanted to continue pursuing even after the internship was over. So during the summer, I wrote a very, very, very long literature review essay for my professor. And I submitted a proposal to present at the California Speech Language Hearing Association convention, which is the professional association for speech language pathologists and audiologists. And I submitted it in September, and I just got notified that I will be presenting my research in March.
Yay! Congratulations.
Thank you.
So that's definitely something huge. As you are thinking about becoming a professional, like what does that entail? Practically every health profession out there has this kind of an association. My sister is currently at one of the pharmacy ones in Anaheim. And so it would be great if you could get started even as an undergrad before even starting graduate school to get familiar with what those spaces are, learning from the presentations there, but also if you have the opportunity to presenting and sharing and establishing your reputation in the field as well. So with that, I just wanted to see if Julissa had any other tips or recommendations for undergrads?
My tip for people who are interested in getting in research, all you have to do is ask professors. There are profiles of them online that include their research interests and what they've done. And if that's something that interests you, just go to their office hours and ask if they're currently involved in any projects, if they need any help. And a lot of professors are willing to mentor students. Another tip that I have is be very organized. Time management is key. I think, like, reflecting back on my college years, time management is a major part of being successful and being able to accomplish all the goals that you set for yourself throughout the semester.
That's huge. Well, thank you very much for your time. I know you're very busy. She's in the middle of applying. She's applied to some schools so far, continuing on that. And so Julissa was able to have a well-rounded application because she was involved not just in doing well in her classes, but getting involved with student organizations, both as a member and then in leadership roles, getting volunteer experience in multiple settings, and also even going that extra step and doing research and presenting it. So thank you for sharing your tips. She was in your shoes a couple years ago. Good luck to your future endeavors, and hopefully this was helpful for you. Thank you.